there we go. Just takes a second here to catch up with the latency of the stream. All right, cool. And we're there. That. Okay, great. So thanks everybody for being here. This is our 2020 ISUGD Senior Show Virtual Frontier panel on social design. And so today we have 3 people speaking, Ashley, Maddie, and Emily, who will be presenting their capstone projects. The way the format is going to work is everyone will present their projects, and then at the end we'll have a discussion and questions. Along the way, if you want to enter your questions or your comments into either the text chat in Zoom, if you're on Zoom, or into the text chat in YouTube, I will be monitoring those, and then I'll introduce those questions or those comments into the end. If you're in Zoom, once the 3 presentations are done, then you will have the option to unmute your microphone and participate in the discussion then. So yeah, so please, as the presentations are going, feel free to drop questions and comments in the text. Otherwise, Ashley, if you don't mind going first, why don't you share your screen, and then we will all turn off our videos, and let's mute our microphones as well.
All right, am I good to go?
Yep, I see your screen. Okay. Great.
So for those who are watching that don't know, my name's Ashley Brimacomb. I did my project on mental illnesses and I called it Inform. It's a little exhibit social campaign to raise awareness. So the problem I found when I was doing my brainstorming was that the conversation about mental illness can be difficult sometimes. I feel that the people who are lucky enough to not experience mental illness find it difficult to understand the weight and effect it can have on someone who does. It is also often challenging for those who deal with and live with mental illness to put their symptoms into words. With Inform, I strive to open up the conversation about mental health. The way that I wanted to go about this was to use metaphors to help people with the conversation, because I feel like they can describe something complex in a simple way that's easier to understand. So further, Inform is a campaign that uses metaphors and analogies to aid in the expression and understanding of mental illness. So before I started designing, I did a little bit of research. I decided that I wanted to focus on anxiety, depression, paranoid personality, and obsessive compulsive disorder. So to design my content, I used my existing knowledge of these 4 mental illnesses, either from direct experience or secondhand experience from people I know. And I also did research that I found online from credible sources. So along the way, I found articles, a lot of discussion threads about it, and videos that helped me gather a well-rounded view and understanding of these topics, because I wanted to be well educated, obviously, before going into this. So some important attributes I wanted to bring into my project were I wanted to be tasteful and intentional. And then I also, with my designs, wanted to be abstract, motion graphics, and experiment with typography. And I also want to stay modern. So solution elements that I designed were, I did some symbolic poster designs that each element represents something about the symptoms correlated with the disorder that the poster is about. I did some metaphor and analogy cards or posters that will help people realize they're not alone when they see them, and maybe one will resonate with them, and that would be good. Um, so I also did social media applications because this is a great way to gather a bigger audience and give a lot more people access to this resource. And I also know that people love stickers. So when we're having a physical show, I thought that I could hand some of those out, as well as prints of the metaphors that I could give away to act as a catalyst for conversation kind of thing. Because if people take the stickers, that could start up a conversation like, where'd you get that? And blah, blah, blah. All right, so then the next step was to do some branding. So I did a pretty simple logo type. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And there's 3 different sizes on the left. And then I used Gotham as my main typeface, BW Stretch as my display typeface. And then for my color palette, I wanted to stay monochromatic to be, stay modern. And then I did some research on colors, and so I could choose the one that best goes with this project. And I found that blue is considered to be beneficial to the mind and body. So I figured that went the best. So I chose a nice blue for my color. Okay, so diving into the designs, on the left, you can see I did a poster about obsessive compulsive disorder. So like I said, each element kind of has symbolism towards the symptoms. So here, obsessive compulsive disorder is a very cyclical thing that these people deal with. So I have it like rotating around, and then it's also a lot like a rabbit hole. Once they focus on something, they can't really get their mind off of it, and it just keeps like getting worse and worse. So that's why I made it kind of an illusion of going in. And then with the type, I had obsessive in stroke type because the obsessions are the part of the illness that you don't typically see. You don't know what people are obsessing about and why they're doing their compulsions. So that's why I had the compulsive in filled type, because that is the part that you do see a lot more that people correlate with this mental illness. So that's it for OCD. And then on the right, I did paranoid personality disorder. This is a lot about people thinking that they're always a target, that people are always watching them. So that's why I have the border around it like that. It's kind of symbolic of a camera or a target, along with the crosshairs in the center, and the circle helps to bring focus to the center as well. I did warped type for paranoid because a lot of times these people do have a warped sense of reality, thinking that everyone is out to get them. And then the squiggle in the background is overall just an element I liked to use in my designs, because one thing I want to get out to the audience is that progress isn't linear, and that's okay. So the squiggles in that line represent like the ups and downs of mental illness. And then my anxiety poster. So this is something I personally deal with a lot. And I find that anxiety is just like one worry after another, and they all just stack up. So that's why I had the repetition type there going down the middle. And then again with the sort of roller coaster up and down element in the back, because that's a lot of what anxiety is like. Sometimes you'll get a calm moment, but then next thing you know, your anxiety spikes again. So that's my anxiety poster. And then with depression, so one of the main things I found is that depression is very isolating. It makes you, feel like you're not really doing what you can and being social. And then I again put the top in stroke type because that's the lighter layer that you see with people of depression who are walking around and not really showing the darker layers underneath of what they might be dealing with. So yeah, with the isolation thing, that's why I have a lot of white space around the type to kind of represent that. Okay, into the next thing. So a lot of my designs I did with it in mind that I was doing a physical built exhibit. at the senior show. So since I didn't get to do that, which I was really excited about, I took it into Cinema 4D and actually modeled how it would have looked. And I thought I'd show you this at the beginning so that you could see my intention with the smaller posters underneath the posters that I just showed you around here. I'll come back to the other elements on that table later, but so here's just a few examples of the cards with metaphors that I found online. Again, with these, I was just trying to show different ways to describe how you're feeling and hope that it helps someone realize they're not alone in their journey. And then at the bottom, of course, I credited the people that I found the quotes from. So, okay, and then I also wanted to do some environmental applications, of course, to get the word out about the brand and the project. So there's a billboard. Again, I want to start the conversation, but also continue it, make it a bigger thing that people talk about. So that's what I put there. And here's another environmental application. So another thing with this project is I think that mental illness shouldn't be a secret. People shouldn't be ashamed of what they're dealing with. So that's kind of what this billboard represents, I suppose. And then into the social media. So here's a screenshot of the page, which is actually up and running right now. And with this, I did some animations because that grabs people's attention a lot more lately, and that's the way things are leaning in the design world. So next, I'll show you some of the animations that I put on there. They'll only go through the loop once, but they are continuous loops on the Instagram page, so feel free to go look at them there. So this I animated, oh no, if it goes. Okay, it's not going, but it was an animation of my, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna exit out and start this over. Oh. Okay. Hopefully it works this time. If it doesn't, I'm just gonna keep the ball rolling. That's a bummer. Okay, it's inform.project on Instagram, and I can pull them up after this as well. And then I also did the sticker designs. As I said, these are just different elements from my designs that I brought together that I thought people could, you know, use how they wish. Again, here's the display that I modeled, just so you guys can see how I plan to apply things. So these, again, are examples of the cards that are underneath the posters. I just wanted to show how I plan to display them. And then on the right is a box where I would have had more printouts of these. So if one resonates with someone, they could have taken it with them. And then a little design brief here explaining my project and letting people know they can take the stickers, and also a little link so that if people are needing help, they can go there and start that process. And then also I plan to put a little QR code, which actually works, to go to my website. So self-promo here. And then in the back on the laptop, it would have been the motion graphics. And yeah, so that's my display overall. I hope the words I used made sense and that you guys enjoyed the designs. Thank you. That's all I've got.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley.
Would you like me to show those animations? Could I do that quick?
What we can do is we can, if you want to pull one up real quick, we can also, we'll put a link to your Instagram in the description for this video on YouTube, so people will be able to find it there. Oh yeah, there they are.
I'll just go through them once if you don't mind.
That's great.
So it's an animation of my logo that would have been the first post on the page. And then an animation of the paranoid personality content coming together. You know, it's just not working out for me. There we go. It's a little laggy. My computer can't handle things. And then the last one. This is my favorite, so hopefully it comes out. Here we go. I just really wanted to get that illusion going there. So that's what I did with those motion graphics. And now I am done and finished.
All right, great, good. I'm glad we got to see those. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, so anybody who's tuning in, if you're on the YouTube channel, please feel free to smash comments into the text chat. I'll introduce them at the end. And for all the new folks who joined via Zoom, you can also put things in the chat as the presentations go, and then we'll introduce them at the end of the discussion. Otherwise, again, at the very end, anybody can bring their microphones back up. Okay, so Maddie, you are going to be next. So Maddie, if you want to turn on your camera and share your screen.
Yep. Okay. Okay, hi everyone. I am going to present my project called The Gift. So my name is Madeline, like I said. I'm the creator, and I wanted to use my skills to impact girls around me with truthful and empowering messages. And I had a couple goals that I wanted to accomplish during this capstone project. This just shows the progress or what was accomplished. So I had this big dream of improving body image talk on social media. Woo! And I did do that in a small way, but I think I made a big impact in my following, and I plan to continue this project as well. But I did tell stories through my illustrations, and I'm really happy with what I did, and I'm excited to show you guys. This is the gift. My values are acknowledge, embrace, believe, share, that we are all a gift, and that this is just my promo video that's playing through right now, but so these graphics are used throughout my branding, and yeah, I use this phrase a lot. The life is a gift, cheesy but true, never doubt or compare because it was made for you. And I just wanted to capture that for body image or for just any positivity or like women in general, we tend to make lists or want to accomplish things. And I'm just challenging that here, saying that like there's nothing that you have to do. You are made who you are, and the gift community is embracing that, and it's just encompassing how we as a community of women can love each other in what we're given. So this last part is talking about how you can share and to spread the truth, and just know that you're crafted beyond compare. And yeah, so I made this at the beginning of capstone branding process, so before we had quarantine and everything, and I continued it throughout throughout the semester, which has been nice because I've just gotten to create. And it's just saying here, this is the gift and it's you. So that's the whole premise of my project. And here it's saying in every season of life, there is a way to love yourself and others. And these values show that like acknowledging, embracing, believing, and sharing. So we all go through different seasons, and the gift is here to be a light, and to love you in what stage you're at, and to share who you are, and to share that you are marked as beautiful. So you can do that by sharing on Instagram, or commenting on blog posts, stuff like that. And then here is just an image of what the gift analogy means. I have on my website that went live yesterday for the gift, I have on the about page what the gift analogy means. So it's something that if you're interested, you can read more about. Yeah. So this is just an image for that. And so to go further with the gift, I wanted to create a campaign to allow women the space to express who they truly are on social media, and just not only to post the gift messages on my personal account. The hashtag has been great because I can have a wider range of women, a wider audience of people that have and already do post to this hashtag, which seems to be a pretty common one. And I chose the word beauty mark because it's an expression, it's a mark of character, a time when you had a victory or something that has made an impact in your life. And so here I show that there are 3 different ways that a beauty mark can be expressed: the body, mind, and soul. So here are 3 women that I got to tell their stories. And each of these, oh, I'm sorry. No. Okay. Okay. So the first one was a friend, and I basically just got to learn about her story more and get to tell it to all my followers, and that was great practice. And it actually gave me the confidence to create the hashtag beauty mark, and just move forward with that. So once I started doing beauty mark posts, I decided to look at other women that had used it previously, and see like what my audience is, or the people that I want to reach out to. So I actually messaged Lena, and we ended up connecting, and she shared her story with me, and I got to illustrate her, and then so that was pretty cool. And she marketed me, promoted me on her Instagram, and shared this post of mine that I did of her, the illustration, and some of her friends reached out, and then this girl Jenna on the right, she shared her beauty mark story, and so that was my first commission. That was a great experience. It's been really fun networking with women through this. And then, so all of those women had marks that they were born with, and it was like a process of them going through that, embracing that as a beautiful mark of theirs. And when I mean by mind, it's more of a subconscious beauty mark. So something that has left a mark in their heart, like they're sheltered, and they're just not wanting to share who they are on the inside. So, or they're afraid, or just stuff like that. So all these posts listed here, Be the Light, The Chase, and Body Image, are posts about that, about um, different, I don't know, different subconscious things that us women go through to just tell us that we're not beautiful or not worthy. And I'm just here to like share that those marks are a part of you, and those experiences and memories that we have are a part of you, but um, they make us stronger and they mark us in a good way. So yeah, and then the soul is the last beauty mark, and with that I made an analogy of I started with writing a blog post called The Garden, and just it's a nice representation, a symbolic way to show us as our true selves in a full way of the body, mind, and soul. And so it was a nice way to illustrate who we are. We need people to pour into us, see like good seeds and plants and just all kinds of things. It's very symbolic, and it was actually what made me write my first blog posts, and I ended up making a blog page on my website, which is live now. So you guys can check that out if you want. Yeah, so the soul is is the side of us that people don't see, as well as the mind. The mind is the emotions, and the soul is who we are within. So that's better shown through like analogies and metaphors as well. And so looking back, the journey to the gift started with branding. At the beginning of Capstone, I needed to find out my purpose, or the purpose of the gift, which I found throughout the duration of what you guys have just seen, and research as well on what other cultures, what other women have already done, other self-expression of body image or body marks, and just seeing like what is a good way, a good place to start for a body image campaign, and good character drawings for that. I just wanted to be informed in the best way that I could, and reach out to women. And ideation, I did a lot of drawings for characters, and then the creation process, and which I'm doing now and going to continue after this. Oops. After this year. So I'm going to, or have been, embracing the process. So on my Instagram, I've been posting the illustrations of the characters, but I also have been showing the videos just to show that it takes time, and where we're at now, it's also symbolic of confidence as women. Like we grow into this, and it's taken me a long time to be confident in the woman I am today, and just showing the process of my project. And yeah, it's just pretty symbolic of, it takes time to get where we're at, but and growth, and that's all necessary for us to be who we are. So telling a story. So I said earlier that I created a blog, and my first posts are on the gift analogy, but I plan to create more content within the future. And yeah, it's been fun telling a story and just making it like seeing other people's comments and reactions to it. So moving forward, I plan to connect with other women that are doing what I'm doing now, but making it their career, um, and creating partnerships, sharing content, and just being in that realm of body image talk and yeah, and then as well as doing that connection, seeking and business side of it, I'm going to continue doing posts and blogs and all that stuff. Just continuing to grow the community. Um, and Instagram provides a great, really great networking. Like it's a very wide demographic, so that's been really great to meet people from all over the place and through this project, and I'm excited to see it grow. And if there's one thing that I've learned throughout this project, it's that positive messages and campaigns have really been really shown fruitful to the women that have responded, and it's greatly appreciated to get the support. And so I just encourage, if you guys like what I'm doing, please like comment. And yeah, I just love the positive reinforcement, because I'm doing it for women and for all you guys. So yeah, it's really great to have good feedback, and it's been motivating me to create more content. So I've been doing stories, and this is just a simple little series. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching this presentation. I have my website, the capstone website. I created a Spotify just of different songs that are actually like women glorifying, not just like I like boys and all that stuff songs. So if you want some good jams, here's a link, and here's a link to my Instagram handle. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys.
All right, great. Thank you, Maddie.
Mhm. Is that a clap?
Yeah,
I can't stop the share.
I think you got it.
Okay.
All right, so next up is Emily. So yeah, we're getting some good comments in the YouTube, so keep those coming. I'll introduce those at the end, and then same with Zoom. If you want to type them in, that'd be great. All right, Emily, if you want to share your screen, and the rest, we'll turn our videos off and take it away.
Cool. So okay. Hopefully everything works sound-wise, but if it doesn't, let me know.
All right, looks good so far.
Yeah, okay. So hi everyone, my name is Emily Cooper Smith, and I would like to tell you about a problem I discovered. Before the age of 12, boys and girls are measured to have the same level of confidence. They are not afraid to pursue a career, share their passions with others, or say what's on their mind. Children at this age are not yet bounded by gender roles or stereotypes. However, as young girls enter their teenage years and transition to middle school, their self-confidence drops significantly, statistically about 30%. This drop in self-confidence will most not likely be regained and remain throughout her adulthood. To close the gap, the problem needs to be caught early. Starting at a young age, girls need to develop a foundation of self-confidence that will strengthen as they get older. For my capstone, Like a Girl, I aim to close that gap because I know the long-term effects don't just hurt the girl, but the woman they become. Like a Girl offers a variety of engaging and fun activities centered around outdoor recreation, life skills, career exploration, and more. These activities are designed to challenge participants to step out of their comfort zone in a supportive and encouraging environment. By expanding their limits, they will become familiar with the feelings of risk, resilience, and growth, the skills necessary to build self-confidence. Now, I would like to introduce you to Like a Girl. So that video was designed to create hype about my program, and it would be advertised through social media platforms and spark an interest with future participants for my program. And then this video would eventually lead to my website, which I will show you here. So here's my website, and I'll just walk you through it. This is the homepage where the video you just saw would be playing, and then goes into an introduction, which you just heard. And then it has an area for announcements or upcoming events. This one is advertising a summer camp. And then it goes to a bunch of quick links about information, the programs, donation, and then the merchandise. And I would like to walk you through the pages. So the programs I have created are 6 to 8 weeks long, and they are year-round in the fall, winter, and spring. Each program is kind of designed in the same sense where your mother will hide broccoli in your spaghetti, so you get your vegetables. These programs are fun and engaging, so girls don't realize that they are building their skills necessary for confidence. An example of a program is called Wild Child. It is a workshop for girls who are able to construct their own schedule by choosing from a variety of activities. These activities include tie-dye battles, playing in the mud, night hikes, archery, and more. There's also a workshop for cooking, survival and camping, and the arts. And for every workshop completed, to encourage girls to do every workshop, you will get a badge that signifies the qualities that the girl would achieve by completing the program. So they are either resilient, artistic, daring, etc. The coordinating programs are listed below the badge. And then, of course, I have merchandise, which is here, which is just a way to help promote the program further, as well as provide funding for it. So yeah, that was the website. And then I will go into the branding. So for my brand, I wanted it to be aspirational enough for a 13-year-old, but professional enough for the parent or the school or teachers that would allow their kids to participate in the program. And so I created my word mark. My primary word mark is a 1 in the middle. And then the 2 eyes and exclamation point create a symbol that forms a pattern seen below. And then every color is related to a workshop, which allows it to the symbol to act as a membership or kind of signifies the girls who would participate. And then I also just have primary colors, secondary colors, same with the fonts. And then in the lower left-hand corner is just an example of how the patterns and word marks are integrated together. In terms of brand application, here's a stationery set. My business card is a 2x2 format. And I also have a social media card that will direct users to my digital platform, considering that is where most of my marketing takes place. In terms of a print application, I created a poster series that I would imagine would be tiled together on the side of a building or in transportation areas, but they would also be able to be used independently. So here are the first 3 and then the last 6. In terms of marketing through the school and targeting students and kids, I created a little brochure pamphlet that talks about the programs, and then also will fold out to a poster. And yeah, that is Like a Girl. Thank you.
All right, great, Emily, thanks.
There we go.
All right. Thank you all three for great presentations. We got a couple of questions or comments from the YouTube chat, so I'll start with those. And then if anybody on the Zoom feels like joining in, asking questions, you can type them in. I believe you have the ability to unmute yourself. If I'm wrong about that, there's like a raise your hand thing that you can hit, and I can unmute you. But the first comment in the YouTube was for Ashley. And it was from Ani, who said, I love how you incorporated specific traits of each disorder into the posters and how you didn't use images of people so that they aren't the poster child, quote unquote, of that disorder. How did you decide, Ashley, what your like visual language for those was going to be? Like, you clearly focused on type and then like a very minimal amount of form. What was that decision process like?
Yeah, I think it was really just me wanting to push myself and not lean on photography as an element for my posters. I've never experimented so much with type, and I think this really made me think about why I'm using the elements I'm using and what their meaning is for my topic. So yeah, that's how I decided.
Great.
What to
Yeah,
do.
and so then Maddie, also working on a sensitive topic, you kind of went the other way, but in a somewhat abstracted form. You chose to focus on representational illustrations of people. How did that process come about for you?
Yeah, it was cool because women would speak up. So it was almost like they were talking about their specific mark in a way that they wanted to share that to people so they could be relatable. Yeah.
Nice. And then, oh, there was one more. So someone says, this one's for you, Emily. It says, I love Like a Girl, way to shine attention towards something so overlooked. So what took you to this initially?
My original capstone idea was more focused on making traveling safe for women, and I kind of explored that through children and kids and kind of wanting it to market to them. And then through that research, I found the statistics which I shared in the beginning, and I realized where the problem was really rooted, and that's what I wanted to focus on. And I wanted to solve the problem before it became a problem.
Yeah, good. So then here's another one for Ashley. The question is, are the stickers or other handout materials available? And could these stickers still help start the conversation, or in your language, continue the conversation of mental health because of using them on computers and sketchbooks?
Well, they aren't currently available. I don't have a shop or anything, but if someone would want one, you could reach out.
Sounds
Yeah,
like you'd have a customer.
Yeah, I totally think that they could still start the conversation and keep it going if people were to put out on their materials.
Nice. This one I think is also for you, Ashley. It says the gifts are dope. Thoughtful translations of the disorders. And then somebody actually just said, woo, Emily. So you got a good thumbs up there. Oh, and this one's for Maddie. The closet nerd really loved your, oh no, I'm sorry. This would have been, let me look at the time again. Sorry, this would have been Emily as well. The closet nerd loved your video. So that came through and the sound did work. So really nice job on that.
Thank you.
How about anybody in Zoom? Anybody on the Zoom interested in unmuting and either asking a question or posing a comment? Otherwise, I got a couple more over here in the YouTube. So here's a question for Emily. Who would lead the activities or the camps?
That's a good question. A detail to be figured out later, but what I would imagine it to be would be parents and volunteers would definitely help support it, but as far as who leads the program, to be determined.
Cool, fair enough. Jake really likes the message of the gift, Maddie. And so how did you at the very beginning, I'm trying to remember what it was that sort of like got you to the gift metaphor, because that did come around pretty quickly, and you share quite a bit about that in some of your other materials. What was kind of the lead up to that? Because one of the things that I think is really interesting about the way all three of you approached these really like somewhat sensitive but also very important topics is through this reference of like analogic thinking, building analogies between things or metaphors between things that we already understand. So Maddie, you kind of embracing this idea of the gift and expanding it in these different directions. Do you remember sort of where that initially came from?
Yeah, first with the logo, it was tally marks, and it was like almost like building something, like trying to um bring our skills to cross something off in our life to complete it. And I just wanted to come to like a realization like there's nothing that you need to do anymore because you're already here, you're already present, like created. And I was like, I need to put this in a box, or like just kind of bring it all to like a curation, like a word. And I just like was thinking of positive objects, and gift just came after a little while. So yeah.
Nice. And then Ashley, with you, when you had like the small quotes that hung from the strings, and I remember one of them about had something to do with like anticipating the teeth and the tongue or something like that. And part of what I thought was really valuable about those is that not only does it help somebody communicate something that they're going through, but it would potentially also help somebody who doesn't necessarily understand very well what someone else is going through. So it could kind of be that gap.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping to accomplish. Because it is very hard to put in words, especially when people experience these things very differently. So I was hoping that maybe this would give someone a chance to explain themselves.
Sure. And then, and Emily too, with yours, like the way that you created your badges relates much more to characteristics as opposed to tasks. And that seemed really valuable within your narrative, that it isn't about checking off boxes of like, I built a fire, I learned how to weld, I, whatever, picked up the right wrench when it was time to fix something. But instead, it's these sort of like broader scale elements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you want me to like elaborate on that, or?
Sure. Yeah. I guess I didn't really end that with a question very well.
It's okay. So part of my inspiration for badges obviously came from Girl Scouts and other programs. And I didn't really like how collecting the badges became more of like a status, like the more badges, the higher up you were in this program, or collect all the badges and then you reach the end and you're like the top dog. And I just felt that created kind of a sense of competition, and not necessarily that all of the girls were learning together as one and growing together. It was much more individualistic, and I wanted to create an incentive for people to complete the workshops, but not an incentive for them to gain traction on someone else or put them ahead of someone else. And so through badges being adjectives or descriptions, it kind of created a sense of admiration rather than kind of leveling up. And I made sure that it didn't matter how many badges you had or didn't have, there wasn't an end all be all. So that was my reasoning behind the badges being descriptions.
Nice. And so this question sort of applies to everybody, which is that you're dealing with sensitive but important topics. So I'll go around one at a time, but what was the most, wait, let me get the wording right. What was the hardest part about learning and researching your topic? So Ashley.
For me personally, it was definitely that everyone experiences these illnesses differently. So I had to do a lot of research and figure out which ones are the most common and how I could portray those. while also being very inclusive of every symptom, I'd say was the most difficult. Yeah.
How about you, Maddie?
I researched a lot of different cultures that did mark making just as an expression of like what they've been through. And the biggest thing that I wanted to take out of that is I didn't want to be I didn't want to glorify or I didn't want to like put on a bad image or like stereotype something that I didn't know existed. So it was hard like not to get trapped in that web of like, oh, there's like burnt markings or tattoos or like different ways to like represent who you are within. So that was definitely a good thing to do.
Yeah. All right, Emily?
I would say my biggest challenge with researching this was creating a program that would identify with a lot of different kinds of girls, because not every single girl is the same. They all have different interests, and taking that, their various interests, and making it really cohesive, and then also creating a brand that was for a 13-year-old, aspirational, but the parents weren't turned away by it. It wasn't too old for their kids, or they didn't feel as though it was too old for their kids. So that was a challenge. And just kind of trying to connect with a 13-year-old when you're 23, it's a very different world.
Sure, it's important to know your audience.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, anyone else from Zoom? Anybody interested in unmuting, asking a question or making a comment for Ashley, Emily, or Maddie? Oh, wait, here's one. I really like hearing, this is from Renee. I really like hearing everyone explain their concepts. A huge part of presenting / selling your design work to a client is the presentation. Smiley face emoticon. So yeah, props for how you all presented your work. Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, cool. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Ashley, Emily, and Maddie, thank you for volunteering to go on or being willing to go on the first day of all of this. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the work that you put into your projects, the thoughtfulness of your topics, the way your presentations come together. You did a really great job. You should be excited about this. So kudos to you. Thanks for everybody for tuning in Zoom and in YouTube. I point over here because that's where the YouTube screen is. That means nothing to anyone who's not me. But yeah, so we've got 2 more days of this. Everybody's capstone projects will be on isugd.com/2020 senior show. You can also go there to find the schedule for the rest of the week. So tune into YouTube, tune into Zoom, and yeah, everyone have a good rest of the evening. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
Thanks.
All right.